right, everyone. Welcome back to Facts and Two Cents. We miss y'all. This is Pamela.
Yes, and this is Petal.
And we are back.
Hi.
And now we've been off for a bit. It's not because we want to be off. Life happens. We both have jobs, and other stuff that goes on in life. And so filming has been a bit challenging, but here we are. So let's get to it, and I have my hairband on. So for those who love it, thank you. For those who want to question it, thank you. Appreciate both. But so as you know, as usual, we're here for our faves. And you know who they are. The goddess of success, Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, King Archie, Princess of Montecito, Lilibet,
Lily Diana.
Lily Diana, Doria, Godmother Doria, and Pula, Guy, and the chickens.
We covered everybody. Yep.
Yeah, somebody put in a comment, how come we forgot the chickens? I'm like, I did. Maybe I didn't enunciate it well, but the chickens. Now you hear it. So we are biased and petty as usual. If we don't send for you, don't come for us because, as you know, we've laid it out there. We're not going to hide. We're not hiding. We're not pretending. What we say, what we say. We speak the fact. We show you the facts, and we back it up our 2 cents. So, anyways, what's been going on? We have a lot going on today. We want to cover a lot, and so we are gonna start. But before we start, maybe Petal wants to say a few words. Or we haven't filmed in a bit. She's been busy as well. So, what's been going on?
Just thank you guys so much for all of the wonderful comments and that you guys have given us so many really positive comments, and also just really great insight into what we're talking about, which is so awesome. And so I just want to say thank you, and also too just to let you know,
people who contributed, people who've donated money to us, we definitely want to acknowledge them as well. All right, so we want to say thank you to the following people who have been so kind. Again, we appreciate everything you do. And this is not a quote, it's just reading on people who've donated to us. Lydia Washington, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathleen Majori Williams, thank you so much for that. Hema Fuller, I think we mentioned it the last time, but thank you so much. Henrietta Palmer was the
Henrietta, yeah.
No, actually no. Henrietta Palmer also. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. And a few other people also did buy some mugs and some merch on our site. So we also want to say thank you again. Feel free to go on our link below and look, see where the merch is the link of the merch link. Access it, enjoy. We have so many fun stuff over there. So go ahead and indulge.
There are other ways to support us if you are interested. Again, there's no obligation, but we do have PayPal, we do have Cash App. So feel free to go over and support. Thank you very much to those who have supported, and thank you to who are interested in supporting us. So again, no obligation, but if you want to, thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's get going. What do we have today? We have so much to talk about. We have Elizabeth and her favorite son, whom she doesn't want us to film. She doesn't want people to take photograph of because they're in Balmoral. So we'll discuss that. And also Charles trying to be this environmentalist and then did he take a private plane? He does that anyway.
Of course, he's in Balmoral. Of course, he took either a plane or a helicopter. That's how
helicopter. Yeah. So that, and also just talk about Harry and Meghan, their charities and what they're doing and helping Haiti, the disaster that's taking place in Haiti and Afghanistan. So there you go. So let's kick it off. Which one do we want to start with?
Well, let's do the polo. We did a little bit of that last time, But just again, just to remind everyone, just what an incredible week of service and really global service that Meghan and Harry did. First last week, we had that wonderful news, surprising news that Harry is in Aspen and he's doing a polo match to benefit Central Valley. And so it was an amazing thing. I know I talked about it on our weekend wrap up last weekend, but it just great to reiterate that his polo match, he was able to raise $3.5 million plus give $1.5 million of his own money. So it was a fantastic time for Central Valley, who has been struggling because of the pandemic, so was an incredible time for him. Right. So yeah.
And Harry was there with his true brother, Nacho, right? They look so gorgeous together, and very encouraging. You can just feel the love and the mutual respect. Although Nacho is older, it's kind of like his admiration for Harry, Harry's admiration for Nacho. You can just sense that they work together. They're in sync. They know what their purpose is as friends, and they come together to get it accomplished. For the kids, for Central Valley. And it's like I was just so happy to see that. And he is going to donate 1.5 million of his money from his book deal towards one of the many charities that Harry is going to be donating to, and Central Valley happens to be one. So kudos to Prince Harry for living up to what he says.
So just because we're biased and we're really petty, we only recognize Nacho as Harry's brother. We do not recognize the incandescent one on Shutter Island. So Nacho is Harry's brother, and that's it. And then, one of the great things that are happening with Paralympics is that they started this initiative called We the 15, which 15% of the world's population are people with disabilities. And so they put this thing out about, it's an initiative where they are going to be pushing for, equality and all the, actually, let me read it. Launching at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games, We the 15 is plans to initiate change over the next decade by bringing together the biggest coalition ever of international organizations from around the world of sport, human rights, policy, communications, business, art, and entertainment. At a time when diversity and inclusion are hot topics, the 15% who have disability want effective change to remove inequality in activity like race, gender, and sexual orientation. We want to have a movement of all persons with disabilities who can rally behind a global movement that is publicly campaigning for disability, visibility, inclusion, and accessibility. So by doing so, we will break down the barriers so all persons with disabilities can fulfill their potential and be active and visible members of an inclusive society. For me, I think that's important because so often they're overlooked. You know what I mean? People with disabilities are overlooked, and it's great that they're doing this, and they're doing it as part of the Paralympics that's going on right now, and because again, it's so easy to overlook someone with a disability, and it's just no, they are part of society and they should have the same rights and the same benefits that able-bodied people have. They brought in a whole group, the founding organizations who got together and found this We the 15 organization, like UNESCO, Global Citizen, the UN Human Rights, and among many others, and also Invictus Games. Harry said in response to that, one of the reasons why I was inspired to create the Invictus Games was to help destigmatize physical and invisible injuries and give the men and women who have experienced them a platform to show the world that they and what they can accomplish anything when they put their mind to it. Everybody at Invictus Foundation is honored to join the We the 15 campaign, and I believe it is in its mission to inspire meaningful change in the communities around the world. And so it is just so great that Harry is part of this, and Invictus is part of this. So it's like the military community and then the public at large, that they're all coming together and being unified around this. So I just think it is a fantastic, and yeah, all the athletes, performing now, or, doing their thing now at the Paralympics in Japan. So congratulations, everybody.
Yay, awesome. All right, cool. Well, so next, Haiti and Afghanistan, and Ashwell continues to marvel and do great things. Because I'm sure you know if you don't know, then I don't know where you are in this world. But Haiti had a level 7 earthquake, which was devastating. Like, it leveled every playing field pretty much, and the main cities were leveled. And then what I found out by watching the World Central Kitchen flew over, and I think also CNN did something and flew over to in the remote areas that people haven't reached out to, where they haven't seen anyone, nobody's come to their aid. Their whole homes, the whole town, the villages are all leveled, and they're in devastation. It's just a devastating thing. So I am so glad that World Central Kitchen, in collaboration with Actual, are delivering at least hot meal to individuals, to communities rather, all over Haiti, which is, as hard as it is, at least a warm food will give you some energy. And people are starving. There's no food. There's no clean water in some places, and just it's raining sometimes, and there's no shelter. It's just a hot mess. And also in Afghanistan, right? What is going on as America pulled out of Afghanistan. Taliban has just gone crazy. And Harry, as a soldier who served in Afghanistan, understands what it means to be in Afghanistan and have an ally on the ground to help you. And this is what most of the soldiers had, having people give them, information so they were able to know where to move. And that's what helped a lot of people survive and not walk into danger and be killed. And I'm glad the American, President Biden is doing his best in getting people out. So I give him kudos for that. But I think the initial plan kind of threw people off, and the fear of like leaving people behind. But I think now that we see that a lot of people are being moved out and they continue to do so that's great news. But I support wounded warriors and the vet community. So that was very touching for me. I was like, yes, because these men and women do not need to do this. Some of them go out there and then they get killed and they leave their family behind, so that we can have the life that we have in the US or in the UK. So I think that we owe them a lot. So I'm glad that Harry and Meghan said something before the royals did, like stood up right away. So that's my take.
And then they also just donated and teamed up with Women for Afghan Women.
Yes, I saw that too.
This, along with, again, as Pam just said, their collaboration with World Central Kitchen, which, by the way, they've been building kitchens, all around. It's like 4 kitchens, and now they're teamed up with Haiti because they just did one in India with the COVID over there. And so this one, they teamed up with Women for Afghan Women, and this is an organization that helps men and women get them out of Afghanistan. And this is what they actually did a post on Twitter about the Sussex's participation with them. It says, "We are immensely grateful for the generosity of Archwell Foundation in support of our efforts to relocate thousands of Afghan women, children, families, including our staff. If you'd like to help Afghan, seek refuge, then, you can help them as well." This is also on the Archwell side. They have a link to it. So if you're interested in, I will also put a link in our show notes, so that way you can if you're interested, you can go and help out as well. But that is great. I know today was a hard day because there were a couple of bombs that went off in Kabul just before we started. And as far as I know, there are between 10 and 14 Americans who died, and there are a lot of people that are injured, both I guess allied troops and civilians there.
Yeah.
So we can all keep them in our prayers and share the link. Other people might be able to help out as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is all in 1 week, that the Sussex are doing all of this stuff in 1 week. Plus Meghan is, have two young ones, 2 and, a couple months old, and so it's like they're on maternity and paternity leave. This is the most active maternity and paternity leave ever,
Right. Yeah.
So, but it's just so great that, that they're not just on, just all about them, that they're reaching out, and it's just so wonderful to see the global impact that they are doing, and they're inspiring other people. And again, also Meghan's 40 by 40 initiative just keeps going, and people just keep picking it up and so many people in the last few days are just going with this, and
it's a ripple effect, and it keeps going on. And like, this
exactly.
is not going to, like we mentioned in the previous videos, this is not going to be an overnight. It's going to be down the line. So, we'll keep hearing it. It's just going to be manifesting, and it's going to be a ripple effect. And a year from now, 2 years from now, somebody knows like, hey, this is how I started my business. So
exactly,
that's amazing. So that's Harry and Meghan doing their thing, which is completely fantastic.
Yeah. And then you compare that with what the other royals are doing on Shutter Island. And you're like, really? You look at,
but they're not doing anything. So it's like, they're not doing anything. So it's like, there's nothing they've done. I don't know. Even they haven't gone anywhere.
They have been doing stuff though. Because Queen Betty, on vacation at Balmoral, her favorite son, Prince Andrew, comes up on August 10th, and promptly Queen Betty decides to have her lawyers send the press a warning letter to not take photographs of her property.
They do that every year. The difference about this one is that she waited, because usually when she gets there, that's when the letter is sent out. But she didn't send the letter till a day after Andrew got there, which was August 10th, I believe.
Right.
And that was what was shocking to even the UK press, because
and how it's worded also.
And so that raised eyebrows, because they're like, yeah, we're used to this, we get this, but we didn't get it when she got there. So we were like, wait, what's going on? Like, okay, fine. But then the moment Andrew gets there, we get this. And you're right, the wording was different. And they were like, even the the British media are suspicious. That's to say something. If they,
I know, and when they're suspicious,
then you're like, okay, all right, Betty, you blew this one.
Exactly.
But yeah. So she doesn't want to take a picture of them, and I was like, what the hell? Oh, and by the way, the church that he usually goes to, or which is closer, I think it's called, what is it? Something Kirk, K3 Kirk or something. It's a church, but it's on a public ground. So obviously, this ties into Virginia, Roberts. Because they can't send a subpoena letter to him because he's hiding, like the song you guys made, hiding his mom's
Balmoral.
So, but the church that they could have gone to, he's not going to that church. It was on public grounds, so he can easily be served. So he's intentionally hiding. It's very clear he's avoiding, and they're trying to avoid any embarrassment, because can you imagine him just walking? Listen, pay any American teenager and send them to the UK and say, hey, go get subpoena that guy walking with the Queen, and don't rush and give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the British might hold back. They'll be like, there's such a reverence of the Queen. But an American who doesn't know or who doesn't care who they are and just like on a mission, I can bet you they'll find if he was on any public.
Think about it. Think about it if that was the Sussexes though. They would have done it.
Yeah.
They would have done it. As if Betty didn't have any other way that she wants to let the world know that Andrew's her favorite son. She decides to let the world know, as according to Royanika, she let it be known that she wants Andrew to retain his
that annoyed the life out of me. And I was like, so this is where I don't know if I have an issue. Well, I do have an issue, but also kind of like question, and I don't want to, I don't know, I don't want to define or break down the relationship between the Queen and Harry and Meghan and their respect for her and how much they don't want to, and maybe they're just trying to like play it safe and cool, like, oh, she's elderly, have it, let her do what she needs to do. She's just going to be here for another couple of years. I don't know, I'm just saying this, but I'm trying to understand, and I get the love, but I'm trying to understand how your grandma can just treat you badly, or at least watch you be treated badly. And let's assume, because they claim the people around her, you know, um, so she had no say. She could have said, "No, that's my grandson," and we've gone through this several
Yeah.
times. But and she doesn't say, she's mute. She doesn't say a word during this whole fiasco that was taking place, tormenting and destroying her grandson and his wife. Nothing was said publicly. Maybe it was said privately, but publicly, people needed to see your support. Nothing was done or said. But with an alleged pedophile, you come out strongly. You come out with letters and stopping people from taking pictures, and you know what I mean. Like, you are making a stand, whether it's you or not, or people around you, it's still you,
But
right?
no, this is her. This is not the palace. This is not the firm. This is the Queen, and it's important to distinguish, because Harry and Meghan. Well, I'll come back to what the Queen has been doing and how she's treated Harry. But Harry and Meghan make a very clear distinction. There's
Yes,
a
the
firm and
firm.
there's
Yes,
Queen.
yeah.
And this example is where you see it very clearly. This is the Queen. This is not the firm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
She
at this
is
point, what does
making
it
it
matter?
clear
They do
that
the
this
same.
is
They
what
both
she
did the
wants,
same
because the
thing.
firm is very different. They're thinking about this. The articles come out with their thinking is like, no, this is not, they don't agree with her. But she wanted her point to come across, and she wanted her point known. And it comes back to what you were saying. Why didn't she have that same energy for the last 4 years for Harry and Meghan?
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, maybe there is a reason why Harry and I, as a supporter of Harry and Meghan, I'm going to choose to respect their choice with her. It doesn't mean that I don't get to question it, right? In a way,
Of course, I have
or
the
seek an
same feeling.
understanding,
I have the
it.
same
But
feeling.
I'm still going to respect their choice, because maybe they have some inside information, or they know something that they feel like maybe they want to be the bigger people about it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to conclude. If we're like, okay, you know what? She's the queen. If we just going to, and listen, the queen is powerful. Let's just say that. We know
She is
that.
very powerful, and
She's
they
very
don't
powerful.
want to, and she is 95 years old or whatever, and so they don't want to go up. They don't need to add that to all the
because then it would not be good in their favor. They would not look good going against, and yeah.
Exactly. Because nothing sticks to her. No matter all the horrible thing this woman has done, nothing sticks to her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the Queen, everybody. So to adding that on top of it, which is a good strategic move.
Yeah.
It is horrible, because again, in this point, you see she has a voice. She can say something. She can speak out in support.
Yeah.
And
she's
she
not
has
senile.
not done that even for a baby. She hasn't done it.
She's not senile. She hears everything. The Queen knows exactly what she's doing.
She does.
She's completely there. She's there. She's fully there. She knows exactly what to do. She's playing chess.
And when she wants something comes across, she gets it. Like exactly.
She gets it then. Yeah.
To the point where.
You know what you said something about how you said when she likes you is when you don't bring any value, or something like, if you're not in line for the throne, then she gets the favorite. She makes you her favorite. That means you're a target to protect the people that she really knows are aligned to the throne. So then I'm thinking, well, so Harry and Meghan were to be targets to protect William, and I wonder who's going to be the target for for Andrew.
They're still using Meghan and Harry. They're still targeting them, and she has not stood up. Even again, here we are. Andrew is accused and has a lawsuit, and the majority of the press has been on Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so they're doing exactly the same thing. They haven't changed their strategy. Nope. I know they have to hide stuff that Charles has been doing. You know, they've thrown Eugenie and her sister under the bus and their husbands with that stuff. You know, they've done that. But you know, other with Andrew, they continue with the Harry and Meghan, and I think with the Omid's book hasn't quite helped because now that has completely distracted everybody for the last few days.
Right.
With you know, with that coming out. But I mean, you know, that book was planned for, you know, I'm assuming a while ago. So who knew this stuff would be happening?
Yeah, that book was already in process, right?
Exactly.
So it wasn't like, yeah, you're right. It wasn't like, oh, let me just put a book to publishing doesn't work like that. So I hope
No,
that
it doesn't.
we
And,
understand
it
that.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
And it's nobody, you know, nobody knew other than say Andrew that the Virginia's lawsuit was going to be coming.
yeah.
So the press is only too happy to use this, you know, it's like, great, we have something. We don't have to talk about Andrew. We can talk about Meghan and Harry forever.
Exactly. And you know what? For someone who Meghan hasn't been seen in what, 3 months, and prior to that, just like sparsely, you know, on here and there. Like she's really getting on people's nerves because people are still writing stuff about her. I'm like, you haven't seen her, except recently when she did that whole 40-40 thing. You haven't seen her. You haven't heard from her. You know. But you know what? I can't wait for Meghan to finish her maternity leave and like be, you know, looking top shape. You know, but no, Meghan, she'll still come up with her baby bum. She doesn't care. She's just gonna live her best life.
You know what I want though? I want
like,
her to, yeah, because they're gonna have the UN thing in I think November, and I
know,
would love it if she would be speaking at that UN.
Yeah, because the thing the UN people don't, she's like they're against her or something like that. I think she should go and speak at the UN and get an astounding standing ovation.
Exactly, which is what I think they should do because, you know, I know I've seen people were like, oh, maybe they would go to that, you know, that big fashion show thing with, I know, I was like, that's so dated.
Oh,
you know?
the Met Gala?
The Met Gala. I was like,
I don't see them doing the Met Gala.
Me neither. I'm like, do they look
I mean,
good?
but they could go, but I don't see them doing the Met Gala at this point.
I'm really, you know, going back to the Queen and Andrew making, you know, she basically, the military don't want Andrew to be part of the thing. Yeah. You know, I'm going to read this. A senior military source said the Queen has let it be known to the regiment that she wants the Duke of York to remain a colonel, and the feeling is that nobody wants to do anything that could cause upset to the colonel-in-chief. It is a very difficult and unsatisfactory situation. His position is not tenable or viable. How can you be a colonel who can't perform the role? For the brief time he was in the post, he was a good colonel, but the feeling across the regiment is that he's not appropriate. It's not appropriate to retain him. You can't have a colonel who can't do public duties. Yeah. The situation has been discussed among the senior defense chief, and all agree that he should go. Military officials have previously called for Andrew to be faded out from his appointment, saying he's an embarrassment to the armed forces.
Yeah, I mean, he is an embarrassment. I mean, I don't know why they'll think otherwise. He is an embarrassment. The military is very strict, and they'd like to keep a clean, you know, appearance. Yes, of course, things goes behind the doors. We know that. But for someone who is a leader, is supposedly leading, and you have this thing hanging on your shoulder everywhere you go, there's nowhere you go that somebody won't come up and protest against you. And that is something they don't want. So, like, what is the pride? What is the reason that you so desperately want that? If your mom gives it to you, just tell her, no, Mom, I think I'm going to step aside for the respect of the men and women who are in uniform and the sacrifices they've made and the dignity that they have. I'll step aside. That's humility. Maybe that will actually start redeeming you. But because of his pride and because he needs to have his ego is like all over him, he can't see that letting go is actually the best thing. He needs to hold on to something to validate.
Also, too, the Queen. She is the head of the military. She is the leader of the military in England.
Yeah, fine, but Andrew can still say.
She is.
Yeah, but Andrew can still say no. She can still say tell his mom, I understand it and I want this, but right now I don't think it's the right time. Let's do this to protect your name and my name, and let's get this, you know, let's just hush things down. Andrew's a 60-something-year-old man. He can think for himself. right?
Well, you know, and that's the thing too, because it's like, how do you explain, you know, the audacity? How do you explain taking away all of Prince Harry's honor, military appointments, and then you want Andrew to retain that? Like that makes no sense.
Yeah, that's
and
shameful.
that's the thing. This is the what, you know how they had this thing like, oh, what Meghan wants, Meghan gets.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Queen Elizabeth wants, Queen Elizabeth gets.
Yeah.
Because there is no other explanation. Is how are you going to explain allowing someone who has this over his head?
Yeah.
You know, and you know that it's embarrassing the military. You know they don't want it. They know they want to get rid of him. And your thing is, no, my son stays. No, this is what Queen Betty wants, Queen Betty gets. This is the perfect example of that.
I think she's thinking, oh, so this is what I'm thinking. Let's play devil's advocate right here. So she's a mom, right? And she's thinking, although I don't know, she has any much of maternal.
But to Andrew, she does.
But to Andrew, she does. So this is her baby, which rumors have said is not even Philip's son, but I don't know how far that's true. Allegedly, I don't know how that's true, but that Andrew is not Philip's son.
They always come up with these things. I
know, allegedly. But anyway, so they said Andrew is that guy. Remember that we watched The Crown, the guy that was like running the stables, that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they said that.
Well, you know, it's funny with Andrew, because I can understand why people would think that, because you look at all the Windsor hairline.
Yeah.
Andrew doesn't have that. Andrew almost has a whole full head of hair.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one
of
the rumors, and that's Queen Elizabeth's love child. Andrew's
Wow.
So she really allegedly, don't come for me. That's what I've read. And so So anyways, my whole point is that she thinking, if I die right now and I strip him off everything, who's going to take care of him? So I'm thinking she is preparing Andrew to still have
something when she
dies. So that's what she's at this point. Betty doesn't care about the UK people. She has, God gives another 5 years, right? She's 95, or is it 96, whatever. Another 5 years. Her mother died at 101. Maybe she lives to 101 or 102. Another 5-6 years. She's thinking, if I live to 101 or 102, that means Andrew's just 61. He has 45 or 50 more years to go, right? So he needs to be positioned to be taken care of. And I'm thinking that's what she's thinking. That's what she's planning. Because at this point, she doesn't care. What are you going to do? Overthrow her? No.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, she really does not care what people do.
She just
do what she wants to do, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And the only thing is like, she's not had to take responsibility for anything in her life. People always fall on the sword for her. And so she just basically like, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to put it, right there in your face, and you're just going to have to take it. I mean, she does that in so many different ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And everybody just sort of gives her a pass. And she's that's
a different level, Karen.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, she, people always like to think, well, nobody is above the law. And even Cressida, what's her name, the police chief or whatever she is in England, she's like, nobody's above the law. I'm like, that is such a lie. The royal family don't operate under any circumstances. Do they operate beneath the law? They all operate above the law, and that is a fact.
Well, she wishes nobody's above the law. But she can't even.
The person would think that.
Wait, if she says that during COVID, when Kate made fake and went to that outfit, they were arresting individual women, stripping women of their clothes, embarrassing women, arresting women, and yet Kate went there for a publicity stunt, and then they said nobody's above the law. Kate went there. She shouldn't have. If they were supposed to, everybody was supposed to obey the law. She went there, so obviously she's above the law. Why didn't she get arrested?
Exactly. And it's just like, they all have this, and so many people believe the nonsense about. I'm like, do you just have not been paying attention to what the royal family do? They don't. They in just about every way, Queen Betty gets exemption from following any of the. Well, first of all, she's immune to any of that stuff. The law doesn't apply to her, and the ones that she, should be able to, at least the government should be able to hold her to a law.
Yeah.
She just, because she has that, that queen's consent or whatever, she just lobbies the ministers, get exemptions, and then give them consent. You don't get consent unless I'm exempt,
Yeah.
And so even, going from Betty's craziness with wanting Andrew to keep his colonel role, then you look at what Charles has been doing.
Yeah.
Prince Charles, I have to say one thing. The one thing I am grateful for is that I will never have to say these words, Prince Charles is my father. Because he is a horrible, horrible, horrible man.
Well, you and millions or billions of other people will probably, well, you know. There might be people who wouldn't mind. I don't know.
I am like, seeing what this man has done, and I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. So what has Prince Charles been doing? And so we have, 5 days ago, Harry took that jet to, go home from Polo. What does Prince Charles do on the same day? Exactly what, remember when William did that, when Harry and Meghan went to Elton John's house. Yeah. Yes, and went to France on Elton's jet, and then we had the Flybe thing.
Yeah.
And then everybody in England was attacking Harry and Meghan, like, oh, these eco warriors, and they're taking private jets, and look, the future king is taking a budget flight.
Yeah.
It's the same pattern.
The lie.
Charles literally did the same thing. Harry took a private jet from, and the funny thing with the pictures of the private jet, you only see the person's legs. You don't see one picture where you actually see Harry. What they've been displaying are people's legs. That's in the picture. That's the picture. And so, assuming that it's Harry, what does Prince Charles do on the same day? Write a letter about the environment. And yes, Prince Philip is from Greece, and there's this fire going in Greece that's burning a lot of Greece.
Right.
He decides to write an article for the Daily Mail.
Of course.
The Daily Mail of all, he has all of these newspapers at his beck and call. So Prince Charles, tweeting about his article, he says, our planet is in crisis, and no matter where you are, no country is immune. The Prince of Wales has written an article for the Daily Mail on the increase in extreme weather events as a result of climate change. And then Scobie tweeted about it. He says, following the UN's recent stark warning on global warming, Prince Charles has written exclusively for the Daily Mail, an outlet he trusts, about the fight against climate change, and is calling for business leaders to join the battle to avert a catastrophe.
Yeah. Well, when he stops flying private jets and helicopters, then people will listen to him. Prince Charles has no substance. There's nothing that people like. Honestly, maybe his age group people respect him in the UK, but the whole world, Prince Charles doesn't have any influence.
It's all hypocrisy.
Yeah, because we see that. That's why he does it.
Wrong with this is not even funny. First of all, writing in the Daily Mail, again, it's the same pattern with the Flybe. Oh, look at Prince Charles. He's the eco warrior. He is the one that really cares about the planet. And look at his dastard son flying in a jet.
But when has Prince Charles taken a public commercial flight? Exactly. When was the last time Charles took a commercial flight? When was the last? Even if he takes a train, it's like it's just him. You know what I mean? He takes a helicopter or private jet. He doesn't take commercial, so maybe he should stop. Then when he starts taking something commercial,
I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this. The Independent did an article about private jets in the royal family. They're attacking Prince Harry for flying, and then juxtaposing that with the wonderful eco warrior Charles, never mentioning all his private jet flights. Yeah. So this is what the Independent has. For the last 5 years, the number one person in the royal family traveling by private jet, Prince Charles. Yeah. 120,213 air miles, 25 trips. costing over $2.4 million, 88% of that private jets.
What period though? Is it just this year?
This is the period, I think, of the last 5 years. Prince Charles, 120,213 miles. He took 25 trips, costing the taxpayers over £2.4 million, and 88% of that were private jets.
Mm-hmm.
The Duke of York, Prince Andrew, 77,668 air miles, 9 trips, costing taxpayers £225,000, 33% of that private jet. Camilla, 69,425 miles, 13 private jets, costing taxpayers over £1.7 million, 92% of that private jets. The Duke of Cambridge, Prince William, 10 trips, over 48,496 miles, costing taxpayers over £477,000. 70% of that were private jets.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come to Prince Harry, 51,362 miles, only 7 trips, $442,900. Only 43% were private jets. And then Meghan, the only 2 people that has flown in a private jet less than Meghan is the Queen and Prince Philip.
Well, Philip is
Meghan took 3 trips, 16,000 miles, 326,000 pounds. 3 trips and 50% of her 3 trips, 50% of her 3 trips were in a private jet. So that 1.5 times.
Yeah.
Meghan is on a private jet. So who are they to be attacking the Sussexes?
Yeah.
When Charles and Camilla and William and Kate
and Andrew
have done so much more. But if you look at the press right now, it's
you
all about Prince Harry, the bad person.
Yeah.
And for Prince Charles, Prince Charles literally took a private jet to go to Davos to meet Greta Thunberg
and talk about the economy, the environment.
And William actually even have the Earthshot Prize, which is all about saving the environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
70% of his and again, even going back to William, we had the Sovereign Grant Report just a couple of months ago, where Prince William, who is in love with his helicopter, took 47 flights in the middle of lockdown, where you couldn't go from one part of England to the other.
Yeah.
Where was William and whomever else was on that helicopter taking 47 flights that cost the taxpayers over £666,000? Where was William going in the middle of lockdown, 47 flights? Well, and these are people.
Listen, the British people, whether you like it or not, they like it. They enjoy paying for the royals, because if you really don't, then you come up with a way and not to be able to feed into this. So until they decide, the British people, and I respect some of y'all or some of our followers, unless you guys decide to make a change, that's what's going to happen. Listen, Charles is going to be king, whether you like it or not. I don't want it, but he's going to be king, and the expense is going to go on. He's going to spend the next 40 years just, swallowing money and eating money from the British people, and then his lunatic, incandescent son, William, will take over, and I don't even know if he'll be king by then, but he will also just usurp all the money, and the taxpayers will take care of his lavish lifestyle. And then Harry, who is working for his lifestyle and helping people around the world, you choose to talk about him. Because in America, people take private planes, and
exactly.
Fine.
So, and that's why I think they're probably realizing now that America is not falling for the nonsense.
Yeah.
And especially when we see the hypocrisy. I mean, how are you going to have Prince Charles, and then you look at this where he's the worst
as private jets? Sometimes the British people, the media thinks, okay, I'm going to the British media think that the British people are stupid.
Well, you know what? Some of them really believe that stuff.
You're right.
That's the market
You're right. That's the market they're playing for. Because how else? I mean, if you think about it, Americans will laugh because that means we're going to have to like criticize every single person, including our president.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So it's just,
So
it's the
it's like,
nonsense.
stop, it's the nonsense. Get over it.
And
It's
even,
like,
even where they are now at Balmoral, Prince Charles is staying at Burkle, which is all on the Balmoral property. Well, a couple of months ago, The Guardian had this article where the Queen lobbied the Scottish government to get an exemption again, so she does not have to follow the new environmental law.
yeah,
With
I read
every
that.
other landowner in Scotland. I mean, she is one of the biggest landowners, and
Yeah.
she lobbied them in order for her to give her consent. And you know when she gave that consent? When in February, when Prince Philip was sick, and just before he went into the hospital, she was lobbying Scotland to get an exemption to not follow their new environmental laws. She gave that consent on the February 17th, the day after Prince Philip was in the hospital. So
and then it said she was mourning and sad and worried. I mean, she was closing deals.
Exactly. Other than, and during that time Prince Philip was in the hospital, she was unveiling a statue of herself. You know what I mean? So this is what she was doing. And there she is. So you think about he is on that property right now. That's where they are at Burkle, on the Balmoral property. The same property, because everybody else who landowners in Scotland right now, the government could say, we can, we need to purchase a bit of your land so we can run this pipeline so people can use the new, renewable energy instead of using fossil fuels to heat your home and all of that stuff. The Queen is like, no.
Yeah, well,
I want an exemption. I don't have to follow that. These are the environmental people we're talking about. Right. You know what I mean? She doesn't have to follow it. Her peasants do. But yet, Prince Charles had to come on the Daily Mail, and it is so ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
That's the paper that he trusts. So apart from the Queen doing her stuff, Charles talks about, Charles talks about, or at least in Omid Suites, it talks about, that's the paper he trusts. When you think about who the Daily Mail
Charles said he trusts the Daily Mail?
Charles, the Daily Mail is who Charles trusts. That's the press. Paper
that's the press.
Trust.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny because when I first saw that, I was angry. I was like, how dare he? This is the paper that Meghan is suing. One of them in the royal household was feeding them information against Meghan. This is the paper that has abused, harassed, targeted his own son for like the last 4 years. They have been every single day. Yeah. Harassing and targeting and bullying his own son and his daughter-in-law, even targeting their babies. And this is the paper. And then it's funny that when I saw the trust, I was just like, how could he? But then I went back and I saw this article about Camilla when she was getting abused. And she, and they would call her, they were calling her Rottweiler, because of, what she did with, to Princess Diana, and she was getting pummeled. What did Charles and Camilla do? What did Camilla do? She decided the Daily Mail was who she was going to give an exclusive to. Gordy George, who is, I guess, the editor.
But that's what we surprised though. I mean,
so that she can make nice with them, so that they can stop. And the thing about it is, now she is the patron of this church that all of the royal reporters are a part of. And she now knows all of them. She knows all their family. They even said in the article that she knows all the kids. And so now when you go back to the Daily Mail in the last how many years, you will not see a negative article about Camilla, because that is the contract. That is the invisible contract.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Why are we surprised? That's what Harry said. And that's very clear. No, I
didn't know that. I didn't know this angle of Camilla until I just read that a couple of days ago. Oh. I didn't know, you of course know but it's always good to know the specifics of the contract. So when he said, Charles said that's a paper I trust, I'm like, now I understand why. Yeah. Because of what they did, I'm sure other reasons too. because he trusts that they're not going to write something negative because he and Camilla are continuing to feed them. Now you know where those rubber stamps, those nasty articles against Harry and Meghan. Now you know where it comes. Now we having concrete evidence. So yeah.
Yeah, there's waging war between Charles and his kids, even though he kind of likes William. There's this waging war that he needs to be able to be keen and be liked and be popular because he has a huge bag of reference that people can go to and just dislike him. So he'll bend over until his butthole is showing to anyone because he needs them to like him. And so Camilla did Diana dirty. He and Charles did Diana dirty. So they'll do anything to be liked. So the less that's written about them, the more they get to know them, the more they get to know these reporters' families, the better for them. So you don't have to write for them. I have to even give them props for that. They're sort of winning in that space where they don't get people writing negative stuff about them. They're really selling their soul.
But then you think about, but at what cost? Who they have to continue
at the cost of Harry and Meghan, of course.
Exactly.
That's but they've never hidden that. Charles is very clear about that. There have been reporters who've talked about how Charles threw his hands under the bus, right? Previously. So it's like, at this point, I'm like Tina. Tina was like, why are we shocked? It was like, this is think of the worst thing, and then Charles has done it. Think of the worst thing, and the Queen has done it.
Details. I like concrete,
I get it.
See it. I just like to get the background of things. It's like, I could point to specific instances. Like, yep. I love receipts, so I love facts.
No, fine. I agree. I'm saying it's that it's maybe it's just me. I'm just feel like, oh, well, these people are shameless. They've done the worst. They've done, think of the worst thing ever, and the Queen has probably done it. I mean, so if she can do that and also just torment one of her grandsons that she claims she loves is her favorite grandson, or people claim he's her favorite grandson, I'm like, oh my God, nothing shocks me. But I hear you. We need facts. This is the show, Facts and 2 cents. So we need to have facts. So that's a good point. But no, I'm not shocked. I think for me, I've gotten to, I don't know, I tuned them out at this point. I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm not going to let you over. Well, Harry and Meghan are breathing easy. They're loving life. They look great. I feel like Harry kind of gained a little bit of weight in the stomach area because I was like, because he's in good food. I know. He's eating good food. He's sleeping. Well, if Lilibet lets him. But he is chilling. Mama Doria's probably cooking all this soul food. They're chilling. People are coming over. They go to Golden Horn and Kirk Russell's house. I don't know. I'm making that up because Kirk Russell was at the polo event.
Russell. Oh, okay. Goldie and Russell.
Goldie and Russell. And I was just like, maybe they go to their house. They have some little, latte. I don't know. I'm making all these things up. So they're living their best life. They don't really care about, Elizabeth. Elizabeth can live in her stinking old Balmoral with, old ghosts hanging around in Balmoral, just surveying the place and asking them, when are you going to come over? I don't know. But it is what it is. So let them be. You see American news don't even pick up on the British news anymore. In the beginning, they were reporting on the British news a lot.
And they're not even using royal reporters anymore, which is thank you, Lord.
Exactly.
Because it's
we got more on our plate. we got COVID.
Yes, American reporters are trying to get Trump reelected is what they're focused on.
We're not thinking about you. We don't care about what y'all do. And then we're like, American news has to be fast and real and ever changing. You can't be repeating the same news. We don't like the same thing.
Yeah.
We're really the 24 cycle country. It's over with. The next one comes up. But we have too many stories to tell, to report on, for us to be holding on the same old issue, which we know is lies, because you can't repeat that. So then it's like, you've lost us. Come on, you've lost us you lost us at hello. We're done. And so, well, thank you for listening and watching. We appreciate you so much for joining us. Until next time, thank you so much for listening and joining us. We love you all and we appreciate you all, and we'll see you guys next time. Ciao.
Bye.
Au
Ciao.
revoir.
Au revoir.
Arrivederci.
Bye.
Bye.